All right, Tom Bashir's back again with our most recent graduate we're talking to today, Donna Owen from the class of 93, who graduate level nursing. Donna, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, and it's a real privilege and an honor to be able to participate in this event today.
Well, no, the honor's all mine because you're a valued alumnus, and that's important to us here.
Thank you.
So first question, obviously you had a career in nursing before you got here, but what kind of drew you to do graduate level education in nursing here?
I knew that I needed to get a graduate degree. I wanted to get a graduate degree, and when I was in the Army, I just retired from the Army, but some of my mentors said, now when you retire, you need to go and get your master's degree. Yes, ma'am. So, I went ahead and did that. I looked at Georgetown, I looked at George Mason. The minute I set foot, literally the very first time I set foot on the Marymount campus in 91, in the spring of 91, it was like I felt like I was home.
Okay.
It reminded me so much of my undergraduate program that I loved so much in Buffalo, New York at D'Youville College. And it was just like, this is where I've got to go. And I have never, ever regretted the decision. I've made good friends here. I'm involved with the nursing community here.
Oh, good.
And so, that's the main reason. It just felt like home, like I belonged.
Well, that's great. First of all, thank you for your service. I was in the Army myself. For about 11 years. My father's in for 35. My sister's in for 20. So obviously very, very appreciative of your service and your time in the Army. So how did your time here, when you took the next step in your career as a nurse, how did the time at Marymount, how did that prepare you?
I did a double master's. I did one in nursing administration, and I also did one concurrently in nursing education with a critical care focus.
Oh,
so,
wow.
And I was a grad assistant.
Oh, my goodness.
But I tend to be a little organized.
Sure.
So that did help.
Army will do that to you.
Yeah, and or being the oldest of 7 kids, too.
Yes.
But anyway, when I graduated, I filled in that fall and the following spring for the Northern Virginia Community College as a clinical educator.
Okay.
With second-year students and then first-year students. And especially working with the first-year students, they're lumps of clay that you're helping to mold into your profession.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that was wonderful. And then I got my last job, which was my perfect dream job, which was as the Director of Health Services at Vincent Hall Military Retirement Community in McLean.
Okay.
And so both of the degrees, I've been able to use both of them because as the Director of Health Services, not only was I the administrative person, but I also did a lot of clinical, where my skills were updated when I was a grad assistant, but I also got to be an educator, so I was able to use the education degree
great.
and also the research aspect of it. So I've been able to take both of the degrees and meld them into what I was able to do professionally.
Well, excellent. Well, I'm going to go a little bit off script here and ask you a question you might not have thought about. If you had an opportunity to talk to either students in or out of the nursing programs who are getting ready to graduate and go on to their careers or next stage of their life, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would give them the advice to not block out anything. If an opportunity presents itself, look at it. If it's something that you absolutely positively cannot do, then say no. But otherwise, look at the pros and cons, and if you're still sort of waffling, take it. If I had not taken some of the opportunities that presented themselves that were way outside my comfort zone, I would not have been able to do the things and be as successful as I was. So look at all the opportunities that are available to you and take them and run with them, because you might find that it leads you down a different pathway, but maybe it's one that's more satisfying.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I think that's great advice. What are some of your maybe fondest memories of your time here as a student?
Oh, my goodness. It was working.
Besides being extremely busy.
It was working with the fellow grad students, the grad assistants, working with the faculty, primarily the nursing faculty, but because I was a nursing admin major, I also participated with non-nurses in some of the coursework that I had to do. Okay. So it was doing all of those kinds of things. Some of the fondest memories were down where the Walgreens is now, down at Lion Village area. We had a building down there. Marymount had a building down there. And that's where I took some of my classes.
That's right.
And that's where I had to park as a grad assistant and then and catch the shuttle bus up here. But some of the Saturday classes were some of the fun classes.
Oh, neat.
So those are some of my fondest memories. The best memory out of that was a nurse that I met when I first got here in August, September of '91. She and I are still best friends.
Oh, see, that's one. Those are the stories I like to hear, and I think it's important to stay connected, with your school. But what kind of motivates you to stay connected as a Marymount alumnus?
I was inducted into the International Nursing Honor Society, Sigma Theta Tau International, but it didn't have the international part of it, in April of 1992. I've been an active member since that time, either just as a member or on a committee in some leadership position. So that's kept me involved. It's just part of my makeup, I think, is to be a nurse. So I've been involved with that. The other thing is, my neighbor and super, super good friend was Rose Bente Lee.
Oh, okay.
And so we got to...
We're sitting here right here. Yeah.
Yes, and I was here for this. I was here for the groundbreaking and the dedication of the Ostapenko Hall also.
Oh, wonderful.
So anyway, but with all of those kinds of things, it just keeps me coming back, and because I believe so firmly in nursing and in financial assistance. If I hadn't had the grad assistant, I could have probably been able to afford the nursing education, paying for it. But financial assistance is so important that I think that that's the reason that I donate every year to her scholarship fund, and it helps me stay connected to Marymount in one of several ways.
Well, that's a wonderful lead into my final comment. And don't forget, to our folks out there watching, today is Day of Giving, and we encourage you to go to alumni.marymount.edu, donate, and make your gift today. But Donna, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for the time.
Yes, ma'am.